Welcome to Foundation Focus. I'm Tom Jones with the Education Foundation, and today we have two very special guests. I'm very excited. I'd like to welcome Samantha Lamora from Savannah Ridge Elementary School, and Savannah is our 2019 Teacher of the Year. Congratulations and welcome, Sam.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm really glad you're here. We also welcome today DellaCroce from Treasure Coast High School, who's our School-Related Employee of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And I just want to mention to the audience that these are very special titles because these titles are really statewide. They're recognized at the state level. And Della was just mentioning to me that the nominations are forthcoming at the state level for the finalists, and there'll be a voting process going on very soon.
Yes.
So we keep our fingers crossed that St. Lucie County will have some individuals in the final running. So we're all looking forward to that. I just wanted to mention to the audience that, it seems like it was just yesterday, but almost 2 months ago, we had the Night of the Stars celebration. And the Night of the Stars celebration is run by the school district. The foundation is a sponsor for that event. And that's a night at Lincoln Park Academy. It's in early February. And WLX-TV feeds it live. So I want to thank our friends at WLX-TV. But this is a time where the school district gets to celebrate excellence in public education and to recognize all of the wonderful people that are really silent partners in many cases, but doing terrific work in our school district. And both of you were recognized at the highest level. And I would just like to start off with you, Della. Tell us, from your perspective at the start of the process, and the audience might not know that this process is really quite long. It starts off probably even before the holidays. But there's quite a process, and maybe you can just give us a little peek as to what that process is and what your view was leading up to the great night, of Night of the Stars.
Well, at Treasure Coast High School, what they do is they put out a ballot for everybody to nominate someone, and that starts in October.
Okay.
So then when they get the ballot back, they pick the top 3. And then they notify the top 3 right at high school level. And at that point, we have to write a little summary about ourselves, saying what we've done through the years. And then at that point, the nominee committee picks one person. And then that happened about November. So I was named Treasure Coast High School Employee of the Year. And then after that, those packages get submitted to the district, and the district picks 3 finalists. And I believe they came in December, Sam, when they made it? December, and announced the 3 finalists. So that was an honor now because I have been nominated by Treasure Coast, but now I've been recognized by the whole district as top 3. So at that point, now you have to go in front of an interview committee in January where you have 4 to 5 assistant principals that ask you questions, and they go by your package. So when that's over, now you have 5-6 weeks to wait to the Night of the Stars, and you don't know until you're standing on that stage if you have won or not won.
That's right, and it's really quite a secret. In fact, the only time I really know is when we're starting to do the trophies. And, we're under just keep it really quiet, don't let it out anywhere. And every once in a while somebody will ask us, "Do you know?" I says, "I honestly don't." So it's a secret process, and it's a secret that I know Candace Stone, who had done it for many years, kept really tight, and Dr. Kevin Perry, who's doing it now, has kept that up. But Sam, from your standpoint, is it the same general process, or?
The process is extremely similar. You're nominated at the school level. They actually had us do our packet kind of in advance, so you do all the pieces. That way, if you were selected, that's like one thing off your plate. And then they came and did the surprise final. We did the interview. There is an interview before we become finalists with a panel, and then they announced the finalists, and they surprised the 3 of us at our school site, so we had no idea. And then there was a follow-up interview, and they came and interviewed my kids. They interviewed coworkers, parents, and myself. my administrators, and then again that waiting period of, you know, you're in limbo, you don't know where you stand, and it's nerve-wracking. Definitely nerve-wracking, but such an honor to be included in that finalist category and to be nominated at all, like Adella said.
You know, if you think about it, I think there's probably close to 4,000 people working in the school district. And here, out of all of that, you know, teachers and administrators, and the two of you really are very special to all of us. And, you know, when we get the three names, we have the balloons and we have a little bit of a ceremony and all of that. That's when the excitement really builds, you know. And this year, as I mentioned, Dr. Kevin Perry was the coordinator, and it was his first time doing that. Kevin had been on the committee for many, many years, mostly from the band perspective, or the music program, but now he was asked to be the coordinator. And he did a magnificent job. You know, he did a great job. He kept us all on point. Our role as a foundation is the sponsor, and what we actually do is we raise the money to make the Night of the Stars happen. And I just wanted to pause a little bit and just recognize our sponsors, because if it weren't for the money, okay, I mean, you know, the money is certainly critical for the foundation to help with our children in terms of teacher grants and scholarships. But this year we were very blessed to have PNC Bank as our grand benefactor. And the grand benefactor is something that we started a few years ago, but it's in recognition for the single organization or company that steps up and wants to support a broad range of programs. So PNC Bank gave us a very generous donation, and they said they definitely wanted the Night of Stars to be included in that, because they've been there every year for many, many years. I would dare say probably going on 20 years.
Wow.
So yeah, so they've been a good corporate citizen. And also every year, Publix charities, okay, Publix supermarkets. Publix gave us funding for the VIP reception. And that's the second year in a row. So I want to thank Publix for their generosity. And then it goes on and on and on. But for the second year in a row, Mid-Florida Credit Union stepped up for the Teacher of the Year. And I just wanted to mention, you'll hear us say Teacher of the Year or TOY, T-O-Y. But Mid-Florida was the toy sponsor. They stepped up with a very generous donation. But they sort of changed the game for us a few years ago. They said that they always provide a personal gift of cash to the Teacher of the Year and the school-related Employee of the Year. And this was a few years ago. I said, okay, sure, this sounds great. And then they told me it's a $5,000 check that goes to the toy and a $2,500 check to the SRAY. And so I'm assuming both of you have your checks already?
Yes.
That's terrific, yeah. And that's really from their board. They just, and it's a gift. And previously, just to mention, we always did a couple $100 as a gift. So now we had to step up all of the categories, you know. But so Mid-Florida really has done a terrific job. I want to mention that Shrita Walker, the local market representative for Mid-Florida, just joined our board. She'll be coming to our first board meeting next month. Sam's on our board. She has an honorary seat. You were at the last board meeting.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. It was very exciting.
Well, you were great. You jumped right in and you were part of the conversation, so I really enjoyed that. That's terrific. And school-related Employee of the Year, SREY as we call it, was sponsored again by Proctor Construction Company. And Proctor built many of our earlier schools in the school district. Actually, right now, as you probably know, I'm over in Fairlawn temporarily until they build a new headquarters. And Proctor built Fairlawn, so and they had mentioned that to me.
That's a lot of history.
Yeah, a lot of history. That goes back. Actually, Fairlawn was originally built in 1949, and then it was rebuilt in the 90s, and that's when Proctor did it. So Proctors are very good corporate citizens as well. And then there are two other big awards. Kaiser University sponsored the Distinguished Minority Educator of the Year, and then also SECO sponsored the Outstanding First Year Teacher sponsorship. So we have a lot of sponsors. I just want to mention some of the other sponsors as well. Gold Coast Federal Credit Union. Herff Jones does all of the rings for the schools, but they also have the special awards. And then just one more, I think, is AT&T always. Ian Cotner is the regional representative. And then coming back this year was HMH, which is Houghton, Mifflin, and Harcourt. And of course, they do all the books and the programming and all that. So we had a really great celebration. And so I want to jump into a couple of questions, okay? Because I'll tell you, every year when you start talking to the new winners, you learn so much about them and passion. And so I would just like to start with, let's see, who do we start with? Let's start with Sam, okay? First of all, tell the audience about your duties at Savannah Ridge.
So I'm a first grade teacher, and that involves obviously teaching first graders. I'm involved in a couple of committees. I'm on the literacy committee, the PBIS committee, the PTO committee. We have lots of different programs at our school that teachers are encouraged to volunteer their time for. And if I'm available, I always try to make sure I can be out there for those. So duties primarily is educating those little guys and setting that foundation for our leaders of tomorrow.
First, let's back up a little bit. How long have you been a teacher?
This is my 5th year teaching.
5th year, okay.
My 2nd year at Savannah Ridge. Previously, I was at Lawnwood.
Okay.
And I grew up in St. Lucie County, so this place
Okay.
is special to me. The foundation actually gave me one of my first scholarships to go to college for education.
Oh, I have to write that one down.
So-
Okay, you're a scholarship recipient.
I
Okay,
am.
well that's
So
special.
double thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
But,
That's terrific.
Yeah, so it was even more of an honor to be part of this whole process and have a seat on the board because I know how important that was for me. I couldn't have gone to college without the scholarships.
So you were a product of the St. Lucie School
I am,
District,
yes.
and with help from the foundation.
Yes, yes.
That's terrific. That touches my heart. It really does.
It touches mine. Thank you.
That's terrific. Now you graduated from where?
Port St. Lucie High School in
Okay.
2009.
2000. Wow.
Yeah.
Della, 2009, and
Yeah.
now you're a teacher?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I went to IRSC and then I went to FAU and
Really?
I graduated
IRSC,
in
yeah.
2012 from FAU and started AIT at Lawnwood in 1st grade. I've only ever taught 1st grade,
Really?
which is my passion. I love that. Just the foundational years are so important, but for me, 1st grade's so fun because there's just so much growing and learning. They come in as kindergartners and they are sent out as 2nd graders.
Now reading starts when, around the 2nd grade?
No, it's
they're
yeah.
reading at the 1st grade level.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There you go.
Absolutely.
Teacher of the year. Absolutely.
Definitely
Reading
so.
at the 1st grade level.
Yes, and in fact, that's like one of the, we just were doing that today. When a student is able to move, like reading levels, they go from, we use 100-book challenge, so like yellow is where they like begin in kindergarten, 1G, 2G, 1, and it just progresses on throughout the colors. And when we can celebrate that movement, that growth is so exciting, and it's important to them. It's important to me. And we just were doing that today. Someone moved their owl, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely can read. Some independently, some with a little more help. But the goal is to have them all at least 2 levels ahead of where they came in when they leave.
Now, at what grade do students know their? They're reading, I guess, fairly fluently at the 1st grade level?
On their level. I mean,
Okay.
it depends. That's kind of the beauty of the differentiation is that you can give a kid a text that is on their level, and they'll
Okay.
be very successful and very fluently
Okay.
able to read it. If you're talking like standard 1st grade level, not every kid is able to fluently read that at the beginning of the year, but the goal is obviously to get them as close to fluent as possible on grade level material by the end of the year.
Now, is there testing in the 1st grade, or?
There is, it's not district assessments like they get 2 through, I believe, 12. I think 2nd grade through 12th, and it's not FSA testing. But 1st grade, at least at my school, we create our own district style assessments that are standards based, and then we graph the data and we go over that with the students. We monitor their growth and their mastery in the standards, and that helps guide our instruction and also helps give the kids a focus of like, this is what we're going to work on, and this is your area of strength, and this is your area of growth.
Okay, that's terrific. Well, you seem to have a real passion for it. I'm
I
going to go
do.
back to passion, okay?
Okay.
We're going to dive down a little bit deeper. But Della, you're over at Treasure Coast High School.
Yes.
Now, when I first came to the foundation, you were over at Alapata Flats, is that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you've been with the district for how long?
I've been with the district now 13 years.
Okay.
So, but I'm only at Treasure Coast High School about 1.5 years. So I just went to Treasure Coast High School.
Okay, and your duty there? Your duties?
I am the 11th grade clerk, which means I'm in like a small office with an assistant principal and 2 guidance counselors. And my main job there is to be the assistant principal's assistant.
Okay.
We oversee 700 juniors, and
Oh, wow,
we
okay.
make sure we know the data. And now since I've come, I've learned all about GPAs. So
Okay.
I know any student in 11th grade that their GPA is below a 2.0 because you need a
okay.
2.0 to graduate.
Right.
So I've learned a lot since I'm coming to Treasure Coast because it's not grades anymore. It's all about your GPA.
Okay.
Because as everybody knows, we do have a 97% graduation rate, and we're on the growing at Treasure Coast High School. But besides, every day I set up the staff meetings, I work the AV equipment if there's something going on. I also am volunteer coordinator there. I've taken on that role.
Okay, and what is a volunteer coordinator?
Well, what we do is we have to clear any adult that comes onto our campus, first of
Okay.
all, because we have to make sure our children are safe. So we have a process where we have to do a background check and all, and this way we have to clear them. Also, we do clear our students if they're going to go to another school to work. Plus, we get our adults totally involved. We find them things to do, ways that they can volunteer. We find our students ways to volunteer, not only in our school but outside, because it's so important for them to get their hours for community service.
Right. You're very good with that, I know. You're very good. You're very involved in a lot of organizations and trying to figure out where a student can plug in because you're always doing that. I mean,
Well,
I'm
and a
aware
lot
of
of
that.
big thing is this year we created a new thing that's like after hours, which I think keeps me out 4 or 5 nights a week. I'm the community business partner now for Treasure Coast High School, and I go out and I actually get these businesses to join Treasure Coast many different ways, and I think I have over 30 partners now. And with the funds that are coming in, we're able to fund so many things. Like we have a food pantry now we've never had. We have Nick's Necessity, which is a foundation my son started over in Centennial, that we give children their daily hygiene products. So those foundations we can keep running so we can feed children, we can give them self-esteem with products. So the community coming into us has been amazing, and they have also opened up internship for our kids. They have given our children job opportunities. We have a couple of businesses, local ones, that 95% are only Treasure Coast High School students.
You know, you and I spoke briefly about it, but as you're talking, my wheels are turning because you know I have this STAR Business Mentor Program. I think we should talk because, first of all, you know the struggling students. And the STAR program was created to help struggling students graduate. And it was focused on juniors because they want to get to the students that have already gone through, through their sophomore year, but then they're starting to struggle. And the whole idea was for us to bring a business mentor in, especially if it linked in with their studies at the CTE level. So if it's a CTE student and they're struggling, then we can bring them and help them mentor. And the beauty of the STAR program is that there's funding there for a fully prepaid scholarship to a college. And so let's you and I talk about that
Oh, I would
because
love to.
because if you've got 13 businesses, if you've touched, I can go in there and talk to them, and we can share some ideas. And then if those 13 would even support some of those the STAR mentoring program, there's no cost to being a STAR mentor, but what we're looking for ultimately is one of those businesses or several of them to give a donation for a scholarship. And the state of Florida actually has a matching scholarship program. So dollar for dollar, they will match. So for instance, we all know, you went to IRSC.
I did.
At IRSC, an AA costs about $8,000. Okay? So if we were able to raise $4,000, the Florida Prepaid Foundation puts in $4,000, and then we can award a fully prepaid scholarship to a student that has been struggling. I'm just my head's
That's my passion right
well,
there.
Then let's you and I make that happen.
We will
Okay?
definitely,
we can work together. We can find those students, and actually, what we want to look for at this stage is a student that's a struggling sophomore. Bring them into the STAR mentoring program as a junior, and it'll be a 2-year program. And I already have several companies. One is the Granger Foundation that puts some money into the STAR program, and the money is it's there. and we're ready to allocate it this year to purchase that 2-year contract and then give the award next year. And the program just started. In fact, the launch of it in terms of our first class is going to be next week, and it's Fort Pierce Public Utilities Authority had come to us. And here's a great local company, right? And they say they need individuals that have not only skill sets in perhaps pre-engineering or maybe being a line person, but they also need customer service agents, they need financial people, they need all kinds of skill sets, especially the soft skills that are needed. And so they've joined the program. They're going to mentor 6 students starting next week, especially during the summer, because summer's a time when a lot of students are idle, so we can bring them into the UA and they can bring them through their organization. And the whole idea is that to teach them the skills that are really needed in school. So let's you and I talk about that, okay?
I'd love to.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Because, CTE is a very, very important part in high school, and people don't realize those are our academies. And we have so many. We have medical, we have engineer, we have international business.
You're right.
And we can go to any company and one of our CTE program will fill.
Absolutely. Healthcare is a big one, right?
Healthcare
absolutely,
is
yes. Well, thank you for that. So we'll circle back on that.
Okay.
Now I can tell just by talking to both of you that you've got this great passion, so I want to dig into that passion. Now, tell me, Sam, what drives you every day with the first graders? I mean, where's that burning flame?
It's them. It's the growing, the learning, the growth that they have shown even now from the beginning of the year through this point. They are the best part of my day. And coming down the hall and they're Miss Lamora, when you're not there, we missed you. They're excited to be there, and that makes it easier for me to be excited to be there because they want to be there and they want to learn. And I ask them every morning, are you ready to learn? Are you ready to work? And they always say, yes, we're ready to learn. Yes, we're ready to work. And they just have this incredible ability to kick themselves up when they have fallen, when there's something they can't do. They just really truly dust themselves off and try it again. And I am so enamored by that quality in these kids, that they want it and they put that effort in, and they know that that's what's going to affect them. That's what's going to affect their not just their grades, but their ability to grow as individuals. And so that's the reward, and that's the passion, and that's the flame, and it's the whole package. It's them.
That's terrific. Are there any special programs that you've actually utilize? I mean, or that you created that really have helped you in your journey?
I think there are 2 things that I think have the most impact on my students, and I've been doing both of these things for the last 5 years, and I've seen it, across schools and not across grade levels, but the kids that come in are always different. You always get a different set of kids. So across all my classes of students, we do Kid President Friday. So every Friday we devote 5 minutes to Kid President, who is this role model. He's like a 3rd grader, and he's just Kid President, and so he talks about how you can be more awesome and ways to make the world a better place, and he's got songs and he's got pep talks, and so we'll watch one, we'll discuss one, and we'll make one our goal for the next week. What did Kid President talk to us about? How can we use that in our classroom? How can we use that in the world and make the world a better place? That's been so effective. And the second part, because I'm so big on building community in my classroom, and the message to them is we're a classroom family, we're in this together, they're going to argue with your classroom family sometimes, you're going to get along with them most of the time, but like any family, you're going to have that moment of don't talk to me right now, and helping them to build the relationships with each other. We celebrate everything. When a kid, like I was saying earlier, is ready to move levels in their reading levels, we celebrate that. And we've got little cheers with cute names, the Elvis, the cheese grater, the hamburger. And we celebrate. They'll tell me sometimes, Miss Lamora, we got to celebrate him. That was good. And so we'll pick a cheer and we'll acknowledge it. And it's more than just that act of celebrating, but it's them understanding that we've got to support each other, and it's good to recognize goodness in other people, whether it's academic or personal whatever. So building that community with my kids through those two kind of techniques, I think has really helped them to enjoy the process.
Well, you're absolutely the type of teacher, there's no doubt in my mind that that student will remember forever.
I hope.
You're making a huge impact. Thank you,
Thank
and
you.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Della, we've got a few more minutes. Why don't you tell us about your passion? Obviously, you talked about the business side of it, working with the students and bringing the business in.
Well, I think my passion is I'm not dealing with little ones anymore, which I have almost my whole career. And these kids that I'm dealing with now are 17, 18, so they're adults. And if I can make just a slight change, and at the end of the day, they come over and say, thank you, or I really appreciate you, that's all that matters. That's the important thing. So my thing is to make these, because I have a 19-year-old, and I relate to them with that. I tell them, look, I'm right there, guys. I've just raised 2 boys. I have a 26-year-old who I'm very proud of, who's a police officer, a detective for PSL. My 19-year-old is in UCF. I tell these kids that I've been where they've been as a mother because I've raised my 2 sons. So, there's nothing they can say to me that's going to surprise me. And I'm there to help them. And when, like I said, at the end of the day, if I made a difference in just one child's life, I'm good. I'm good to go home.
It's all about passion and connection, isn't it? And both of you have it. Congratulations to both of you. I'm so proud of all of you.
Thank you so much.
And let's keep talking, throughout the year, because the foundation is really trying to become more relevant at the ground level. We're really trying to understand what the needs are and to be a full partner, with the school district. And we're so proud of the school district with the graduation rates and all the things that are happening. And so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I just want to mention to the audience as we're closing that we've got a couple of more events before school year is over. The first is the scholarship ceremony, which will be on Thursday, May 10th at Fort Pierce Central. And that's on our website, so you can go on www.efslc.org to learn more about that. And then I'm also very excited about a new program. It's going to be the All-Star Softball Tournament. Easy for you to say, right? All-Star Softball Tournament. And this tournament is on Saturday, May 12th. It's between 3 and 5 o'clock. And it's going to be the school district versus the firefighters. And it's going to be at First Data Field. The Mets is one of our sponsors, and they've given us access to the facility. And it's going to be a great time for us to raise some money for scholarships. So we're all about scholarships. And I think Coach Gent is going to lead the school district. And we've got a coach for the firefighters. And I'm out right now searching for sponsorships. It's just actually kicked off this week. So I'm going to use this time just to ask if anyone's out there would like to help sponsor the softball tournament. Please just give me a shout at 772, 485-4790 is my cell phone, okay? And so I wanted to thank WLX-TV for the generosity in helping us with Foundation Focus. And I want to wish all of you a great evening. Thank you.